What's a common behavior that disgusts you? Not respecting your turn in line and trying to take someone else's turn. The worst behavior I can think of. I work with mostly people from an Asian country, and I won't name it. And lunchtime, trying to get a microwave is a fucking nightmare. I've literally had someone take my food out of the microwave halfway through cooking and put theirs in. I've been forced to take a later lunch just so I don't have to deal with it. I get that it's a cultural thing, they're all very nice people, but man, do you not see me waiting patiently for a microwave? Why do you think I'm standing there with my cold lunch in hand? Since so many people are thinking it's Chinese, it's not, they are Vietnamese. For the people saying I should have removed their food from the microwave and tossed it, I did take it out and put mine back in, but I didn't throw it away. I know I can't skip eating at work, even if they did deserve it. Haha, do you work with me? Because I have watched this happen before. The entitlement is just insane. You seriously have to stand there guarding your food. They also just take whatever fucking food is in the fridge if they're hungry. It doesn't matter if your name's on it, or if it's clearly in a personal lunch bag. I had my nice expensive macaron stolen, the entire box. I had my pizza that was in a lunch bag half eaten and put back into the bag. I finally caved in and got my own fridge for my office because I was tired of having my lunch grow legs and walk away. Yeah, I would have just started taking cash out of people's wallet at that point. What are you doing? You stole my macarons from me. That box was $28. I'm taking the $28 you owe me. Now you have bought them instead of stealing them. Many years ago, my mom had a co-worker who would take parts of her lunch. By that, I mean he would take things from her bag like cookies, but leave salads. She'd leave it on top of the fridge with her name, and stuff would go missing from it. She suspected him, but when she asked him about it, even saying that if he asked, she would bake him some cookies, he denied it. So one day, she decided she was going to make it stop. She made a batch of cookies and replaced some of the chocolate with Elax chocolate. She took them to work, let them in her labeled bag, and they went missing. A short while later, the coworker has to run off to the bathroom because his guts are about to empty themselves into his pants. He actually talked to her after, admitted to taking the cookies, only to warn her that he may have gotten food poisoning and she should be careful. Her response, "Oh, I've been having difficulty going to the bathroom, so I made those cookies to help me out." I read a great story about a guy whose wife kept putting her lunch stolen at work. So he fixed her up a batch of chicken wings with extremely hot chili sauce. The kind of hot where you put a teaspoon into a whole pot of chili. The guy got violently ill and was summarily found out. Best part is you can't be accused of poisoning him because, hey, they don't know your life. Maybe you just really like spicy food. I think I read that too. I think it's this one. So I'm a bit of a chili head. Love my hot sauces. I also love to cook. I also cook my wife a delicious lunch each day. She kept complaining that someone was stealing her lunch every couple of days out of the fridge at work. So I made her some buffalo wings for lunch to put in the fridge. They are really popular with her colleagues, but I spiced them up a bit. But I spiced them up just a little with some Blair's 4 a.m. reserve. I note, you are meant to dilute it with 1 drop per 5 liters of liquid. So I added a couple of drops of Blair's 4 a.m. reserve per wing, with nice dusting of ghost chili powder for good measure. I did eat a couple to make sure it didn't kill anybody. They were real hot. Even cream doesn't cut the heat, and ghost chilies keep getting hotter for about 5 minutes. Needless to say, just before lunch, there was a shrill from the kitchen. A young male colleague decided to help himself to my wife's lunch, which was clearly marked with her name. He ran to the toilet and vomited it all over and over. Apparently, the moans sounded like he was dying. My wife just sat there innocently, pretending nothing was wrong. Needless to say, she has not lost a single lunch since. Alright, let's go on to the next comment thread. People that only talk about themselves and think you care enough to listen to a one-sided conversation for an hour. So many people like that. My mother-in-law has spoken for an hour about herself without anyone else saying a word. Uncomfortable as hell. My mom is like this. She basically only talks about herself, and that's what all family conversations turn into. If you talk about yourself, she kind of half listens and then will forget whatever you said. When I met my in-laws, I was kind of shocked that they held actual conversations with me and were interested in me. That's my mom. I actually have learned to use it to my advantage to avoid disagreements. The moment a conversation toward her saying something aggressive or belittling about my life, I just turned the conversation back to her favorite subject. Her. Worked with a woman like this. One time she approached someone and started talking. It was lasting for a while, and I didn't want to exaggerate when I complained about it later, so I pulled out my stopwatch app and started timing. Once I started timing, it lasted over 10 minutes with my coworker speaking only 3 times. And they were very short interjections. I have a coworker like this too. I've gotten into the habit of calling the people she's talking to after 5 minutes because it was the only way to get her to leave. Alright. Oh wait, this one looks good. One of my girlfriend's oldest friends is like this. They never see each other, but maybe once every 2 or 3 months because of it. They will get together, and my girlfriend's friend will just drive around and talk about herself for literally hours. My GF will try to insert some comments or relate with the story or talk about what's going on in her life, but her friend never responds. She'll just say something like, "Oh, cool, yeah, I've been doing this, and for another hour." And she never wants to hang out with me. She now has a boyfriend and a house that have the 2 of them bought after being together for like 5 months. But she never wants me to come over with her with my GF, nor does she ever want to bring her BF out to our side of the town to hang out. It's a very selfish relationship. They've been friends for years, so it's one of those things that's hard to just drop. But again, it's extremely rare that they actually see each other anymore because my GF just can't handle it anymore. People who stop to have a conversation in the middle of a busy hallway or staircase, completely oblivious to all the people that are now blocking. Bonus points for doing it in a busy grocery store with shopping carts. Ugh, this is why I go to stores at non-peak hours. All I have to do is tell them to get out of the way. And it works like 90% of the time. Or people who stop in the middle of the road in their cars to chat. Some people have places to be. Wow. In my neighborhood, people love to line both sides of the street with parked cars. The other day I was going to the driving range with some friends. And some fuck-ass decides he's going to have a conversation with this guy in the middle of the road in his car. I can't pass because there's cars on both sides. I give him a couple seconds to realize I'm waiting. And when he doesn't move, I give him a quick honk. A guy glares at me and goes, "I'm trying to talk to someone here, bro." So I just laid on the horn until they moved. Fucking entitled people, man. Oh, man. That would have pissed me off, too. People entering lift/train before letting people exit. Seriously, there's only as much space. You aren't creating any more. Playing music on your phone without headphones. Funny thing, once or twice I accidentally did this, but didn't realize it because I had my earbuds in and plugged in and everything. For some reason, my phone bugged and sent audio through both earbuds and speaker while I was in the therapist lobby. The best part of waking up is 32 replenishment, 1,000 extra. Oh wait, I didn't mean to read that. I don't like it when people post the edit, "Oh, I can't believe this comment blew up" stuff. Yes, and videos of all sorts of stuff playing in restaurants on full volume. I'm trying to enjoy my dinner and conversation, not listen to your music video. I had a lady watching Hood Rat Street Fight video in full volume sitting beside me at the DMV. After about 20 minutes, I asked her to turn the volume down. She just gave me a dirty look, so I took my phone out, found an hour loop of the Vuvuzela, and proceeded to listen to it in full volume as well. She was not impressed and found another seat. Well, that's a good way to handle it. Littering. Wait the fuck up and find a cash can. Wait the fuck up and find a trash can. Okay. Some of these things are worded in very colloquial ways. With my 5-year-old. "Dad, why do people litter?" "Because they're lazy, I guess." "But Dad, you're lazy and you don't litter." "You got a point there, kid. People who litter must be some deeper kind of pestilence." Right, my car's backseat might be full of trash, but goddamn if I let a piece of that touch the ground before I run it down and grab it. I hate how here in France and apparently everywhere else people don't consider cigarette butts as trash. They always throw it on the ground. I especially hate when they throw it through their car window and I'm motorcycling behind it. On that point, biodegradable cigarette filter butts with flower seeds? What? Is that a real thing? I hate it when groups of people walk slowly next to each other in a line so that you can't pass them. Yeah, that is a minor annoyance. on one-uppers. They've always done better, done more, know more than you. Irritating as hell. Even worse when it comes in victim Olympics format. Sir, you have alcoholism and PTSD. Oh, ma'am. And you have alcoholism. I can't say that. Alcoholism, PTSD, and bipolar. And you, sir, you have alcoholism, PTSD, bipolar, ADHD, schizophrenia, and autism. Also, habitually sarcastic people. It gets old, people. Real old. Holy moly, never seen that many replies. Oh, I should stop reading the edits. Never vaguely mention if you're tired or didn't get much sleep. You won't believe how much sleep this guy didn't get. Oh my God. It's so true. I only sleep 2 hours a night on average, that guy. Then why the fuck are you late to work every day? Because those hours are 7 to 9 a.m. Honestly, that doesn't actually happen. You toss and turn all night, and in a couple hours before you have to wake up, you start sleeping like a twitch put a spell on you. It's such deep, wonderful, nourishing sleep, and then you're late to work and you're nodding off all day, and then you finally get home and just trying to stay I'm pretty sure that meant awake, so you don't fall asleep too early, and then around 10 p.m. you get a burst of energy that carries you to 4 a.m. again. Yay. It's like someone has insomnia. Oh God, this. If I say I didn't sleep well the other night, everyone else has to tell me how they only got 30 minutes of sleep in the past 72 hours, and they don't have to chug coffee just to function. Well then, fuck off and go take a nap. I am always worried people will take me for a one-upper, but I'm not really trying to top anything. I'm just trying to say, hey, I know what that's like. I've had something similar happen and share the story, so we know we had that in common with each other. Same here, and then I immediately worry that whoever I'm talking to is going to think I'm trying to one-up them. Yeah, it is kind of hard to respond to statements like that without trying to sound like you're one-upping them. Best thing is to just accept them. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, that sounds like it sucks, and then change the subject to something else. In my experience, since I know a whole bunch of people are habitual complainers. How people borderline stalk a celebrity. I'm all for loving a celebrity, but it gets a little too much when you know what they're doing and day in and day out, and who their second cousin's wife's son's best friend's daughter is. That shit is just weird. Do you ever watch Antiviral? It's kind of crappy, but it's about what happens when people take their celebrity worship to the extreme. It solidly freaked me out because I can honestly see people's obsession with celebrities reaching this point. I don't know necessarily how common it is, or if the people I know are young and stupid, but I can name like 15 people who have cheated on their significant others. I'm relatively young, but I feel like this shit is fucking gross behavior, and I've told that to people who have done this. Yeah, you just know a lot of terrible people. Although it is pretty common, huh? I wonder what the statistics on that are. Compulsive lying. Oh, you know 6 languages? Okay. You work out 2 hours a day? Alright. You've had 12 girlfriends? That's nice, I guess. You always stop to play with the kids at the park? That's weird. You're with your 5th girlfriend now? Didn't you tell me you had 12? Lots of fun watching them backtrack when you call them out, though. Oh my God, I knew a guy like this in high school. Everybody knew him at school because he was a really crazy compulsive liar. I think the guy just had like a screw loose or something, but he always had a supermodel girlfriend and a convertible that he just happened to leave home that day. He didn't really seem like he was malicious or anything. He just seemed like he had a screw loose. It was kind of weird, but it was funny listening to him talk about himself just because he told outlandish lies. On the other hand, compulsive liars are some of my favorite people. It's like having someone that you can force to tell you a story at any time. Oh, you went backpacking in China? That's amazing. Tell me about the visas process. You snuck in from Afghanistan? Even cooler. Why were you there? They're not digging a pit. They're digging a glorious mountain of bullshit. That's so true. That's what it was like to talk to that guy. I can't believe I forgot his name. He had some really good stories. I've talked to him a few times. I had a friend who claimed that each of the 4 walls in his room were giant TVs, yet every time I went over to his house, they were all in the shop for dead pixels. What do people get out of these outrageous lies? Oh, it's funny. I'm assuming this is the same thing as a pathological liar, and I know a guy who was like that. He's close to 30, a virgin, he has no job, no license, and lives at home with his mom. These are facts. Yet, he slept with over 50 girls. He works for Mercedes, even though he has no license. His company lets him drive company cars all over the state. He has a BMW, two four-wheelers, a motorcycle, and 2 snowmobiles. We have never seen any of the material things he says he has, including the Xbox One and the PS4 he says he'll keep bringing over. He also says he has a trust fund that has over $1 million, but he's usually out of money by 7 on a Friday. Yep, I know a guy. Yep, the guy I know is the same on a smaller scale. Best part is when a few of us that know him brought him up in conversation, immediately we were all able to piece together lies he told each of us that all contradicted each other. That's usually how you figure it out. See, if you call someone out, then you feel like a jerk, and you don't want to be a jerk by admitting someone you're suspicious. A bunch of friends and I had some suspicious about someone who claimed they had cancer and had only 3 months to live. A couple years later, we all got together and talked about it, but if you brought it up at the time, you might have looked like a jerk. A couple years later, we all got together and said, that might have been wrong. I knew a guy who lied so often about such stupid things too. He pretty much fucked himself over on his lies, like how he went to China for a year backpacking, but he also had time to go to South America and make it back to Belgium for Tomorrowland. It was horrible. The worst part was that I never confronted him about it once. I felt too awkward about the whole thing. Usually, the less a person has going for them, / the less adequate they feel, the bigger and more abundant the lies. I have a friend who's the exact same way. He's 31, lives in his parents' basement, hasn't had a job that I'm aware of in like 8 or 10 years. But according to him, always has a gaggle of women, a ton of money, and is an expert on everything in the world. Then, I'll watch him use his mom's debit card to take out $20. He's pretty dense and not all that intelligent. So you can imagine how laughable the whole thing is. It's just a ton of insecurity built up over the years. Sad, really. I've lived with a pathological liar. He'd lie every day. His funniest lie was during a flood in my town. Although the flood was low and on the opposite side of the town from where he works, he told me that the water was neck high for him when he walked to work, and he had to swim the rest of the way there. It boggles the mind. On the same note, one-uppers, no matter what you say, what story you tell, no matter how outlandish, they will one-up you. Here's a story about something cute my 4-year-old did when he came home from preschool. Oh, I didn't realize you had triplets, that they did the same shit when they were 2. The building was on fire and one was smoking a cahobia. Thanks for sharing. Okay, that was... I either read that wrong or that was just an incoherent sentence. My best friend isn't a chronic liar exactly. He's more of a chronic bullshitter. He says this kind of stuff, although it's not as bad. He doesn't even do it on purpose. It's just how he is, I guess. As a result, I've gotten pretty good at determining whether or not someone is bullshitting me. And those are the ones you don't believe. Most annoying people. I don't know, the only pathological I've known was a pretty funny guy. People that occupy an extra seat on public transport for their luggage in rush hour, or people who don't give up their seats for elderly folks. When people stand in shop doorways yapping and blocking the total thing, chewing with your mouth open, people who can't keep their kids in any kind of control, and then bring them in shops, restaurants, and so forth, and completely ignore their spawn trashing the place. Bonus points for going postal when someone kindly asks them to stop their kids from biting them or something. I read a story of a guy who had a kid bite him in Walmart. He started bleeding. At one point, he just flips shits and his friends play along. They tell the kid's mom that the bleeding dude has HIV positive. Cue the mom crying because she thinks her kid may now get HIV, and the dude walking out of Walmart smiling. I'll post a link of it if I can find it. Edit. The story. Now, I'm sure many of you have encountered little shits in supermarkets. Little kids running about, knocking things over, being rude, walking all over their parents. You know the kind. But the worst are the biters. Yes, those little cunts that feel it is okay to bite you whenever they feel like it. Okay, here's the best part. A biter got me today when I was grocery shopping. He broke the skin too. This was when the gears started turning. The moment I saw a tiny sprinkle of blood on the little shit's teeth as he was grinning at me like the little cunt he is. I made my eyes get wide and started screaming, "Shit, shit." Now my good friend Tom, we'll call him, was there too, and he instantly picked up on it. He started shouting, "Fuck, maybe he didn't get it, fuck." By now, the little kid is scared shitless and starts crying. Instantly, Ms. Mom appears out of nowhere and starts getting pissy at us for yelling at her kid. Here's the kicker. I took her straight in the eyes and say, "Ma'am, get your son tested as soon as possible. He just bit me, and I'm fucking HIV positive." And now there is silence. Not a peep in the entire store. The brat knows he's just fucked up big time because his mom isn't defending his ass. She just stares at me wide-eyed. I walk away from them, buy my shit from the wide-eyed cashier. All the while, blood is dripping from my calf, making a nice little trail on the floor. And just as we leave, we start to hear the mother sobbing like the cunt she is. I have never felt any more satisfaction than the moment I heard that sob. I'm not really HIV positive, but that little shit must have gotten in a fuck heap of trouble. My wife and I have a pact to reenact this exact scene if one of us ever gets bitten by a demon child. Alright, once had a dad lose his fucking shit at me. I was sat there having a pint with my mate, and these parents who obviously have never been in a pub before, judging by the fact that they were queuing at the bar like it was a checkout in Tesco, were sat about having a meal whilst their kids ran around screaming, climbing over tables and chairs, generally pissing everyone off in the general vicinity. But I ignore it, whatever, they probably need a beer if the kids are the shit. Anyways, not long later, one of the kids tries to get into my jacket pockets. Jackets hung off the back of the chairs. I stop him and kind of goes, "Whoa, little man, you don't go into another man's coat." And the dad comes over screaming, "What gives you the right to tell my son what he can and can't do? He's developing at his own pace, blah, blah, blah." I couldn't be asked, so I simply said, "Fuck off, you wrinkly old wanker," and went back to my pint, ignored the cunt, and got on with the night. Which worked out rather nicely. He was so dumbfounded at my response, he left after complaining to the bar staff, who couldn't give a fuck. Quite rightly. Some parents are just tools. Hey, they're kids. It's perfectly okay for them to steal your stuff, right? He's developing at his own place. No more of this. It just makes me angry about how people are so lazy in raising their children. Disrespect towards customer service workers. It's terrible. Oh yeah, I worked customer service for 5 years. You see so much of this. I hate this one too, especially the checkout people. Yes, this 16-year-old girl's fault that this multinational corporation doesn't have the exact brand of sauce you want. You busted her. She's the head of Woolworth in those tacky cheap glasses and too much eyeliner. I also hate people who criticize others' looks. Oh, and I don't like people who don't get sarcasm, but I feel sorry for them more than anything. Not signaling to change lanes or turns. Being two-faced. I know you don't like me. Why do you act like you're my best mate every time you see me? Lateness. It's one thing to be 10 minutes late. That's acceptable. Nothing drives me crazier than people who are habitually 20 or 30 minutes late every single time. To me, that says they don't value my time at all. The people I know are chronically late aren't bad people, and I know they don't mean anything by it, but it's like they're in their own world. Like time doesn't mean anything to them, and they'll come whenever they want. I have one friend who's particularly bad. She's very flaky and will always be late, if she even shows up at all. She'll never call ahead of time to say that she's late or not coming at all, and when I try to call her, she suddenly becomes impossible to reach. She's one of my best friends. I know it's not personal since she does the same thing to everyone. She's also one of the nicest people I know. She just doesn't really pay attention to time. One time I was hanging out with a few friends who all met at my house at 5. At 5:30 I saw her on Facebook. Wait, I saw her still on Facebook at home, and I messaged her, and she said she was about to leave. By 7, she still hasn't left her house. At 8, she called me to tell me that she couldn't come by because she got pulled over for speeding since she was trying to get to my house fast after being so late. And her mom wanted her back home after that. I told her that she was already 3 hours late, and a few minutes wouldn't have killed her. So, yeah. I know that late people aren't doing it on purpose, but it really is shitty behavior. Okay, yeah. I have a friend who's just like this. She's super flaky. But that's just how she is with everyone. She's just super, I don't know, she's really nice, but she's also really selfish. Told a couple of buddies headed to town. I'm not going to read it anymore. It'll just remind me of my flaky friend, who I still hang out with. Only if we make plans on the day that we're going to go out. And within like the next hour or two. Planning ahead is just impossible. People who speak with confidence on a subject they have no fucking clue. Confident idiots are just the worst kind, spreading stupidity. Little do you know, this is how 90% of successful people become successful. Fake it until you make it. The art of bullshit. Little do you know, 73.5% of people who fake it until they make it fabricate their statistics to aid their charade. So Reddit, that's my brother. He majored in philosophy and thinks that gives him authority on every subject. He also treats any kind of intellectual discussion as an argument, and he'll do anything to win it, even if he knows that he has little to no knowledge on the subject. Usually his arguments end up boiling down to, but you can't know that. No one can know anything. And then he gets argumentative and hostile. God damn. I took a course in logic. There's some people who thinks it's a respectable argument to point out that your argument is flawed. That's an ad hominem attack. No, it's not. And then you get into an argument about arguments. It's just not worth your time. I had an argument once when he was asked if humans are really considerate animals. I said yes, and he immediately jumped on the offense. And it says that humans should be reclassified because we're so different than other animals. I explained taxonomy and said that we're undeniably related to primates and share 99% of genetic material, and that classifications is based on shared ancestry. You can't just put humans in a new kingdom. That's not how it works at all. After some more arguing, he said that scientists are too logical and unfeeling and ignore the spiritual and emotional side. I had to explain that spirituality, oh damn, I can't say that, I just said it like a second ago, and emotion have literally nothing to do with biological classifications, and it got worse from there. I learned that now when I get even the hint of an argument with him, I just stop talking and tune him out. It's better that way. My manager always fucks off to the supermarket right before any big meeting to buy sandwiches. He then arrives at the meeting 15 minutes late and sits there eating his fucking egg and dick sandwich and getting that shit stuck. I'm his fucking horrible scraggly fucking beard. Fucking hate the cunt. Listen to music in public. People who don't respect personal space, be in a restaurant with your mates and socializing with each other are all fucking around on their phones. Condescension towards retail workers. Oversharing on Facebook. Oh, this one looks unique and not like all the other ones I've read so far. Oversharing on Facebook. Enough with the clean eating / workout updates already. I know some people like this. I had to unsubscribe from their feed. You can do that without having to unfriend them. I've done it to like 2 people so far. Agreed. Or the fishing for sympathy on Facebook. Hey guys, I had a rough day. I just can't talk about it. That's exactly this one girl I know. Mothers with their children who think they have inherited some kind of extra whites. No, you are still part of society, and you should also take care of others, blocking the whole sidewalk or parking in second line. People who've had more children than they can properly care for. Whether it involves money or simply not having enough time to spend with them, I find that behavior disgusting. Yeah, so do I. People acting counterintuitive to the multitude of bumper stickers. I've been cut off on my Vespa by people who share the road and look twice, save a life bumper stickers. I've seen people with local, correlated to my city bumper stickers galore throw cigarette butts and other trash out their car window. And a car covered with hippie, peaceful bumper stickers doesn't mean they won't drive like an aggressive asshole. These actions are frustrating enough, but openly and redundantly stating that you advocate for certain ideology / philosophies and blatantly acting in the antithetical sends me the darkest of timelines in my mind. Bad parenting, calling criticism jealousy, downvoting, insulting, reporting people because they gave an opinion on something instead of just patting your pathetic shoulder. This more and more becomes a thing with the internet, even here on Reddit. I see it every day. It's really common for parents to tell this to their children. It's a way of shifting blame. If you're jealous that PewDiePie has more subscribers than you. You're just jealous that PewDiePie has more subscribers than you. I think I checked his subscriber thing like a day ago. Someone posted something about it on Twitter. He has like something like 20 million subscribers. That's crazy. I wish I could make money making nonsense videos, not gonna lie. But they're only nonsense to you because you aren't in the loop. To his fans, which I am not one, the content is his personality, and whatever else he brings into videos as far as subject matter goes. YouTube and the internet are just a new tier of celebrity culture. And the more accepted the internet culture internet continues to become, the more internet celebrities you will see. You're right. It's not like I hate the dude. I respect him. His videos are certainly not for me. Yet he has at least 1 million views per video. He must be doing something right. Something I honestly can't see. But it works. I said nonsense because it makes no sense to me. Trust me, it's not my thing either. But over the years, I've learned that as an artist myself, you need to be open to anything and everything when it comes to performance art. Some people can really make a good living just being themselves, or doing things that people might enjoy watching. There is something inherently simple about it, and I find it inspiring and thought-provoking when I try to apply that thinking to my music or writing. Okay, that's enough of that. The whole women first, give the lady your seat mentality. I had a woman try and shove her way past me on a bus the other day and yell ladies first when I was getting on the bus. I somehow ended up looking like the bad guy for not letting her cut in line. Ended up having to hear a chorus of wow, this generation is sure fucked up from a couple of older people on the bus ride to work. And the other day I get out of a 10-hour shift and I'm at a separate bus shop, and an older lady is sitting 1 or 2 seats of her shopping bags occupying the second seat. This woman saw me standing there for 10 minutes and did not offer me her seat. But as soon as she saw another woman come to the bus stop, she immediately moved her bag and said, ma'am, would you like to sit down? I think the mentality that I deserve to stand, women deserve to sit is fucked up. Start sitting on her bags. People that judge others based on their occupation or income. People who don't admit when they are wrong or misinformed, not just in arguments, but just as casual conversation as well. Oh, such and such was totally great in the movie. Such and such actually wasn't in the movie, but they were in a different one that was good. Oh no, they were definitely in the movie. Okay, whatever you say. It's okay to be wrong. People who are just patently wrong and cling to their misconception, especially when a sense of superiority agitate the heck out of me, and it's a really fast way to kill a conversation. When it happens, I usually just nod and say, aha, as I tune the convo out. If I happen to be the one who gets cornered, huzzah. I learned something and will admit I was incorrect. Every day is a chance to learn something new, and yeah. When someone I just meet calls me chief or boss. Alright, slick. If someone ever calls me slick, I'll probably burst out laughing. I'd love to be called slick. Can I ask why? Unless it's said with a sarcastic tone, I'm struggling to see how this could be disgusting. Wow, it's almost 5,000 more replies. Yeah, I'm not going to open that. I usually just go to the end of these and then end the video. Alright, that was a negative chain. I should probably read more positive ones. There'd probably be a lot less swearing.